I am the one taking care of the bills, okay? So things better go the way I say it should go, okay? Submissive wife, but my husband's not loving you. What all that you can do is do your part. Hello, today's Resolute Christian. I hope you're all doing good and welcome back. Yes, we are discussing our hot topic. Is submission outdated? There, I close my eyes. The answer may be surprising, but I want us to go back a little bit and think about why submission is such an issue. Why is submission such a turnoff? Why is submission such a get away from me type of situation? Let's look at it. So the definition of submission is the action of accepting and yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. So you're accepting the authority of another person. I just want to put a disclaimer out here. I am talking purely about Christian marriages. I'm not talking about non-Christian marriages, Muslim marriages, whatever other marriages, but Christian marriages, Christian couples where both parties are Christian, born again Christians. So what really caused submission to be an issue and become a turn off is because of the cliche of what a man can do, a woman can do. Why do I need to submit to another person who's just like me? We are all equal in the sight of God. A man can work, a woman can work. A man can cook, a woman can cook. And there I say, a woman earning more than a man even. So why do I need to submit to him? I'm earning more than him. I am the one taking care of the bills, okay? So things better go the way I say it should go, okay? Those are the things that bring it to a territory where submission starts to become a more difficult thing if it's seen as something based on the man being the provider, being ahead of you, being someone who you can look after. But then when it becomes to, okay, now we're equal, so why do I need to submit? Okay, and then there he say, so now I want you to cut down on your hours. I want you to work less. I want you to possibly stay at home. Oh no, there's going to be a problem, a lot of women would say, right? And we see that God knows that women tend to have that tendency of wanting to control her husband. We see this in Genesis 3:16, and it says that her wish will be to control her husband, but your husband will rule over you. So you wish that you can control him, but he will be the one who will rule over you. And that's part of the curse that the woman will receive, that we will be under our husbands. And whether we like it or not, the Bible clearly says that we must submit to our husbands. In the 1 Corinthians 11:3, it says, the head of the wife is the husband. And that's what I said is the disclaimer I said in the beginning, that this is going to be for Christian marriages only. I'm not talking about non-Christian marriages, because the importance here is that even though the man is the head of the wife, the head of the man is Christ. Okay, so if the head of the man is Christ, the man in turn will be Christ-like to the wife. Okay, a man who has made Christ his head will find it very difficult to be abusive to you. Will find it very difficult to lay his hands on you, to misuse finances, to cheat on you, because his head will be Christ. So everything he does has to be in alignment with Christ. And that's why all my Christian sisters that I talk to, I always tell them, when they're asking me about the man I'm looking for, I always say, make sure he is God-fearing, because a man who is God-fearing, when he's doing certain actions, there will be a check within him. If he does not have Christ within him, he can do anything. He can do anything. The same way I could see money laying somewhere and the money doesn't belong to me, it would be very, very difficult for me to steal it, because my conscience, the Christ within me, Holy Spirit within me, will not let me do that. It will be very difficult. And I'll probably possibly go crazy and just put it back if I even attempted to do it, right? Because there is a check in us. So if you have a God-fearing husband, there will be a check within him. And that's why you have to submit to your husband as he also submits to Christ. And that's how it's meant to work. Because even as much as so as we preach about submission and women submit and do this and do that, the Bible also clearly says to husbands, love your wife. Just as Christ loved the church, Christ loved the church so much that he laid down his life. That's how your husband is meant to love you. Your husband is meant to love you, that he would even lay down his life for you. That's the high standard of love that God has placed upon man. So our submission placement that we've been given, that we have to submit, is not even as high as the husband's. And it doesn't say, wife, love your husband as Christ loved the church, but it says, husband, love your wives as Christ loved the church. So each and every one of us have a high calling, a high standard to adhere to, that it seems like it's almost impossible to reach, but we always have to try and achieve it. And you might say, well, Ruth, I'm doing my part. My husband is just not loving me, though. He is not loving me. I am being a submissive wife, but my husband is not loving you. All that you can do is do your part. Do your part within the marriage. You don't have to say, well, he's not doing A, B, and C, so I'm not going to do E, D, and F. Like, you do your part and give it unto God. If it's a Christian marriage, and even if it's not and you're in it, still submit it unto God. Submit it to God, because he's the only one who can change people's hearts. I always say, if you look back at your life 5 years ago and where you are now in your walk with God, and you can see a massive difference, that's the same way he can transform your husband. He can do the transforming. You do your part. I always say you have to study your husband. Study what he likes, what he does not like. What is his weakness, and work on it. What makes him happy? Is it coming to a clean house, coming to a freshly cooked meal? Is this what makes him happy? Do those things. Even when he upsets you, still do it and surprise him. Because there's a power within you that man cannot stand. There's something within us women that men can just not stand. It's not always sex. Sometimes it's sex. And sometimes it's a meal. And sometimes it's gifts. Whatever it is, you need to identify that and work with that. And again, I also want to stress, as we're talking about submission, is that I stand solidly and strongly on the fact that domestic violence is a no-no, okay? If there's abuse, physical abuse, severe mental abuse, get out, because that is not God's will for your life. But if it's not abusive, if he's not laying his hands on you, and it's just maybe him being lazy, maybe him not buying you gifts, maybe he didn't even say happy birthday to you, maybe he didn't buy you anything for Valentine's Day, maybe he didn't even recognize Valentine's Day, those are not reasons for a divorce. Him not making you happy all the time, or maybe you say it's even been a year, is not a reason for divorce. Divorce should be the last thing. And that for me is, and I would say, is when your life is in danger. Okay, he's putting hands on you. Okay, he's doing serious things that could cause serious harm to you. But any other reason, you have to pray and submit to God and work on it. Therapy, talking, prayer. I always say prayer is very powerful. Prayer can do things that you cannot achieve physically, and much faster even. And also my single ladies, as you're listening, and that's why I would say that, you have to be intentional about the person that you marry. It is not the person who smiles at you. It's not the person who makes you feel good, who seems to have potential to be a good husband. He might be rough now, but he might have potential. No, that's not good enough. You have to be intentional about the man that you can be sure that he can be the man who can be your husband. Because as we've now seen, that a husband's role is to be your head. Can he be your authority? Because your head is your authority. Can he be your authority? Because he's going to take place, like he actually has spiritual authority over you. You as a woman have to know who you are in order to know the type of husband you can have or should have. If you're a 2-liter woman, a woman with much ambition, a woman with so many gifts and talents within her, and you marry and you 2 liters worth of a woman, and you marry a man who is a bottle cup of 50 milliliters, you are going to struggle to fit in. You are going to struggle to fit in because your calling is to be his helper. But if you are guys are not equally yoked at all, it is going to be very difficult. There's only a certain man who could be, and that certain man is my husband, who could be my husband. Because I have a very strong calling, right? And not every man can be my husband. And I have to be intentional and with prayer and discernment and see, okay, I can submit to this man. This man can be my authority and I can be his helper. And he in turn will also help bring the things out that are within me. But in a nutshell, ladies, I hope this video was helpful. Submission is very much still relevant today, and it will always be, because it's one of the basic principles of marriage. And God has said it, and his word is forever. It does not change with generations. It does not change with technology. It does not change. So I hope this video was helpful. I would love to hear your comments, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye bye.